Hello geometry class. Last time we learned about sine and cosine ratio and sine and cosine of complementary angles. So in this video I'm going to do the practice problems from student journal, that is on page number 265. And also just to know that we're supposed to apply, because this is about sine and cosine ratio. So before we even start doing it, you need to remember the expression for sine and cosine was so and ka. We're not using tangent questions here. We're just using sine is opposite over hypotenuse and cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So we have to look at the location. So let's move to question number 1 through 3, and in that part they say find sine of f, sine of g, cosine of f, cosine of g for the given triangles, and write each answers as a fraction. First we have to give the answer in fraction and decimal, round it to the 4 places. All right, so let's start doing our very first question. Here first question we have been given, so we have to find sine f and sine g. So I know it's I have to find sine f and I have to find sine g. All right, so for this one, if I have to find sine f, f is here, and for sine I know that is so. All right, opposite over hypotenuse. So I have to write down the opposite side here. So for this one, opposite side is going to be this one, so that's going to be 12 over hypotenuse is 13. So that's our answer in fraction. And then afterwards that's going to be in fraction, and when I divide it, my answer in nearest tenth, it's going to be sine f is 0.9231. That's my answer for this question. I got sine f. Now I need to get sine g. So if I have to get sine g, so let me first erase this part, this coloring here again, so that I can explain you. All right, if I have to find sine g, so let's write down sine g, and again I know it's so. So for g I have to look at the location of angle. For g, that's opposite is this, and this is the hypotenuse. So I have 5 over 13. That's my fractional answer. And then when I just do the division and round to the nearest 4th place, 0.3846. That's my answer. So we got already our sine ratios for the angle. Let's find our cosine ratios. Okay, so let's do the cosine ratio. Let me change the color, and yes. So if I have to find the cosine ratio, if I have to find cosine of angle f, if I have to do that, so how can I do that? So for that I have to look for where is my cosine. So my cosine angle is here, that's f, and then cosine is ka, adjacent over hypotenuse. So this is going to be adjacent and this is going to be hypotenuse. So that's now 5 over 13, and we don't have to calculate it again because we already know that it is the same value we got here on the top, that is 0.3846. Now if I have to get cosine of angle g, so I have to now, let me remove it. If I have to get the cosine of angle g, means this one cosine is ka, adjacent over hypotenuse for this angle. So that's going to be 12 over 13, and that we already calculated here on top, very first, same expression, no need to plug it in calculator because we already done that. So that's 0.9321. all right, so let's move to the next part here. For question number 2, we are supposed to do it the same way. Only the thing you have to assume, if you rearrange that, you rearrange your triangle, maybe it's confusing for you, but it's a 90-degree here, so you just do the same calculation. So we are going to do the same calculation here. So we are going to find sine of f, and we are going to find sine of g. Same way for f. Now for this one, sine is so. That is so means opposite over hypotenuse. So that's going to be 65 over 97. And when you plug it in your calculator, you're going to get 0.6701. So that's going to be your answer. Now let's move to the next part, and here if I have to find sine g, so this is g. Let me erase this one. If I have to use sine g, so g so means for this is going to be opposite leg, and this is going to be hypotenuse. That's going to be what? 72 over 97, and when you calculate it, you're going to get 0.7423. Now so this way we got these values. Let's move to our next calculation part, where we're going to do our cosine value. All right, so I have to find cosine of f now here for this question, cosine of f and cosine of g. All right, so if I have to find cosine of f, so I'm just going to remove it, and cosine is, what do I know? That's ka. All right, that is ka. For cosine of f, this is f, so adjacent, this is going to be adjacent. Sorry, this is not, yeah. For f, this is going to be adjacent, your adjacent, and this is your hypotenuse. So that's going to be 72 over 97. So that's going to be 72 over 97, and when you plug it in, your answer is going to be 0.7423, and you already calculated it on the top. You don't have to do it again. All right, now if I have to find cosine of g, cosine of g is here, so that's a cosine of g. For g, that's, you need to have ka, adjacent over hypotenuse, so 65 over 97. That's going to be the same answer on top, 0.6701. So yes, this way you can see that we are getting the answers, like in the all four ratio, two answers are similar. So let's move to next problem. It's almost a similar thing, only the orientation is different. So when we are moving here, I have to find sine of f here, sine of g. So sine of f opposite, so that is, I know that's so opposite over, this is opposite over hypotenuse, so that's going to be root 2 over 2. Let me erase it. Yeah, that's going to be root 2 over 2, and when you simplify it, your answer is going to be 0.7071. And for sine g, that's going to be, when you look at g, this is going to be opposite, and root 2 over 2 again, the same expression, and that's same, roughly equal to 0.7071. All right, now I have to find cosine of f. For that, let's move to cosine of f. So we have to find cosine of f and cosine of g for the above triangle. And if I just look at it, f is here and cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's going to be adjacent, so again root 2 over 2, and 0.7071. all answers are going to be same. And cosine of g is here, so ka, means adjacent over hypotenuse, because our both legs are same. So no matter which one we are finding, it's almost going to be the same answer. So that's our answer. All right, let's move to the next problem here, and we're going to do very easy. These were kind of little time taking. After this, we're going to move here. This problem, for this one, what we have to do, 4 to 6, we have to find the expression in terms of cosine, and it's really easy. We know that the cosine formula, that sine cosine of any acute angle is the cosine of complementary angle. So for this one, that's going to be cosine of 90 minus 9, and that's going to be cosine of 81 degrees. Why I did it? Because I know sine of A is cosine of 90 minus A. That we have used here. All right, now that's the answer. If I have to do this one, so that's going to be cosine of 90 minus 30, and that's going to be equal to cosine of 60 degrees. All right, if I do question number 6, same thing. It's going to be cosine of 90 minus 77. That's going to be what? Cosine of 13 degree. You just subtract it and get the complementary. All right, so I have already, this goes here, solution for this is here, and solution for this is here. So I hope you get it. So let's move to next 3 problems. So we're moving to next 3 problems, and here that's problem number 7, 8, 9. And now what they have to do, you have to do write the expression in terms of sine. We have to write the expression in terms of sine, means cosine to sine. So what it could be, cosine of angle A is the same formula, the one I explained you before, is going to be sine of 90 minus A. All right, we have to use that same logic. So yes, let's use it. If I'm just doing the first 7, it's going to be sine 90 minus 15. All right, 90 degree minus 15 degree, that's my answer. And I have to simplify it. I get sine of 75 degrees. That's my answer for this problem. Let's do the 8th. That's going to be sine 90 minus 83. Just, if it is cosine, you need to find sine, just subtract it, and then afterwards what we're going to do, we need to subtract it, and our answer is going to be sine 90 minus 83 is simple one, sine 7 degrees. Let's move to the next problem, cosine of 45 degree. So we are applying the same top formula. That's going to be sine 90 minus 45, and that's going to be what? Sine 45 degrees, because 90 minus 45 is 45 degrees. So I hope you get the answer. This is the solution for this one, and this one. All right. So let's move to the next problem here. I know the video is getting longer. I thought doing the whole exercise at one go. So let's move to the next one. Here what we have to do, question number 10 to 13, find the value of each variable. I have to find the value of each variable using sine and cosine and round to the nearest tenth. I have to keep that in mind. I have to find the value, the answer to the nearest tenth. All right, so for this one, all right, so let's move. I have to find what we need to do. I have to use sine and cosine. So let's say this angle is given, so let's write down the ratio for sine. I know that sine is so and ka, that I will be keeping in my mind. Opposite over hypotenuse. So sine of 16 degree is equal to, for this angle, opposite is this one and hypotenuse is 9. So x over 9. And then what you do, you simply simplify it. You do the cross multiplication or any method you like to do. I do cross multiplication. I get x equal to 9 times sine of 16 degrees. And when you solve it, you're roughly getting equal to 2.5. They want us to do it in a nearest 10. So then that's 2.5, but we just got x. I have to find y2. So let's do cosine. For uh, cosine 16, just write down the cosine 16. I know that's ka. That's going to be this adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's y over 9. You write that, do the cross multiplication. Y is what? 9 times cosine of 16. And when you simplify it, nearest 10th, that's you getting 8.7. All right, you can check it, and you can always stop the video and check whether you can do the remaining questions and then compare with my answers. And then let's move to the next problem, and where we're supposed to do question number 11. 11 is just the orientation is kind of different, so it doesn't matter. You just can redraw it, up to you. This angle is given. All right, this angle is given, and we are supposed to find m and n. So what we are going to do, we are going to write sine of 72 degrees. Again, sine is what? So means it's going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So that's n over 50. Cross multiply, you get n equal to 50 sine 72 degrees. Plug it in calculator. Your answer is going to be roughly equal to 47.6. And please make sure you change the mode of your calculator. It should be in degree mode, not in radian. When I want to write the same thing for here, if I want to write the cosine ratio of 72, that's ka, means adjacent of over hypotenuse. It means m over 72 and m over 50, sorry. Let me just write it again. So that's going to be m over 50. Cross multiply, m is equal to 50 cosine 72, and you plug it in, and your answer is going to be 15.5, nearest 10th. All right. After that, same way, let's do next problem, question number 12. If I have to use sine and cosine, so I know this angle is given, and I have to use the sine of 47. So means opposite over hypotenuse. So that's going to be c over d. But looks like both are unknown. I can solve it. So better I should start with sine ratio. So sine of 47, cosine of 47. So cosine of 47 is what? Ka. So that's adjacent over hypotenuse. So 10 over d. This looks easier, just one unknown thing. So d is, when you cross multiply, that's 10 over cosine 47. And when you simplify, your answer is going to be what? When you simplify for this one, your answer is going to be 14.7. All right, that's going to be 14.7 by nearest 10. But when you're using that in calculator, because you need this d to solve this your sine 47. So whatever the answer is in your calculator, leave it as it is, and let's first see what expression I'm going to get to solve it. So when I cross multiply here, because d we already have it, so c is d times sine 47. In your calculator you already have you have the value of d. Don't round it, just with the same answer from the previous step, multiply sine 47 and when you get your answer, that's going to be 10.7 when you round it to the nearest tenth. All right, so let's move to the next problem. Keep in mind, don't round it when you're using one of the variable in the next solution. So better to take the whole expression as it is, otherwise it will give you rounding error. All right, so let's move to 13. Question number 13, that is, we have been given a triangle. So I have to do question number 13, we're supposed to do, we need to find the value of a and b. For that, we need to look for this angle, that this angle is angle 65. So I have to write sine 65. I would be using sine and cosine ratio. For this sine 65, this is going to be our opposite, this is hypotenuse, that's 28 over b, and when I solve it, I can cross multiply, and my b is going to be 28 over sine 65. And when you solve it, your answer is roughly equal to going to be 30.9. All right, and you can now write the cosine ratio for the same angle. So that's going to be cosine of 65, and that's going to be what? Ka. So for this is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's going to be a over 28. All right, so that's going to be a over a over b, not 28, sorry. So that's going to be a over b, and you already got your b, so let's first see how you're going to do it. So for that, I have to find a, and a is b cosine 65, and in your calculator you already have that value, cosine 65. So don't multiply the roundup value, just use the same value as it is and multiply it by your b, and your answer is going to be equal to 13.1. So these are the two answers. Let's move to the very last problem of this lesson. Last problem is a camera attached to a kite is filming the damage caused by a brush fire in a closed off area. The camera is directly above the center of the closed area. All right, a person is standing 100 feet away. So let's imagine this situation scenario, that let's say a person is standing 100 feet away from the center of closed area. And so if this is a closed area, so let's see, this is a closed area. For that, a person is standing here. Okay, a person is standing here, and that's how much? That's 100 feet. And here is the person. Okay, now other thing, they say the angle of depression from the camera to the person flying the kite is 25 degree. It means they're talking about this thing from here, they're talking about this thing, and then let's drop a perpendicular here. May not look that better one, so yeah, so may not be the best 90 degree angle, but I hope you won't mind. That's 90 degree, and kite is here, and this is the person. What we have to do, we have to find that this angle, they tell you that this angle is 25 degree, and what you have to do, how long is the string of the kite. They want you to find this thing, x, and I know this is for this angle, this is adjacent and this is hypotenuse. So adjacent leg and hypotenuse, two informations. Hypotenuse you have to find, adjacent is given. So which formula have a and h? Adjacent leg and hypotenuse. So sine doesn't have, tangent doesn't have, it's a ka, so it's a ka. So I have to take the cosine ratio. So cosine of 25 is equal to what? 100 over x. This way we can decide which one we have to do, and just do the cross multiplication. X equal to 100 over cosine of 25, and when you simplify it, you're just getting your answer. If they don't tell you, round it to the nearest tenth. This many, is that complete? No, this many feet. You have to always enter the unit. Now the same thing, they say B, if the string of the kite is 200 feet long. Now they're changing the value of the hypotenuse. How far must the person flying the kite stand from the center of closed off area, and the angle of depression is the same, 25 degrees. So it means this time I have to draw the same kind of triangle. So if I have, this is the height, and here this is the, and here this is the base, and then if this is 90, and they're saying now this is 200 feet long, kite is here, person is here, they want us to find how much is this. If I don't know, I can assign a variable here, y, and this angle they have given, that's 25 degree. And we can do the same thing. I have to first look for what is given, what information, what kind of information do I have. I have this hypotenuse here, I have this adjacent leg which is not known to me, so it looks like I do have A and H. H is given, hypotenuse is given here. Now adjacent leg is, that is missing, that I don't know. So I have to again use the cosine ratio. So I will be using cosine of, I would be using cosine of 25 degrees. That's adjacent over hypotenuse, that's y over 200. Cross multiply, y is 200 cosine of 25. When you simplify it, you get 181.3 feet. The person has to stand this much far from the center of the brush fire, the close off area. So I hope you get it. I have already done all the questions for this lesson, so we'll be starting solving right triangles afterwards. Stay safe, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.